forwarded Trump and his allies, including Dominion voting machines, made baseless claims on Fox News and other platforms, alleging that votes were stolen from Trump and flipped to Joe Biden. These conspiracy theories were clearly false. Howard Kurtz, a Fox News host, acknowledged the falsity of these claims. Fox News and Dominion Voting Systems recently reached a settlement, in which Fox News agreed to pay $787.5 million to Dominion. Dominion had sued Fox News for defamation and sought $1.6 billion in damages. The evidence presented by Dominion was damning, indicating that Fox had acted with malice. It was not a favorable situation for Fox, so it's understandable why they chose to settle. After all was said and done, Howard Kurtz, too, admitted that these were indeed conspiracy theories. To be fair to Howard Kurtz, he wasn't among the Fox News hosts who perpetuated the false narrative. However, working at Fox News while knowing that your colleagues are spreading lies that could incite political violence, which indeed occurred during the January 6th events in the nation's capital, must feel incredibly unsettling. It's likely that Kurtz occasionally experiences a sense of discomfort. Nevertheless, the prospect of losing his income probably outweighs those concerns. Fox News is a major player in conservative media, so he's likely sticking around. He may be more aligned with the traditional Republican values, and it's possible that he dislikes his party more than the Democrats do at this point. But this is his job, and he's trying to hold on for a few more years before embarking on a new chapter of his life down that proverbial dusty trail. I eagerly anticipate the time when I can leisurely mosey along. Yes, I can't wait for that moment. However, it's important to acknowledge that Howard Kurtz attempted to provide justification for the network, considering that Fox News is the one paying his salary. Let's examine that part of his statement. The defense that Fox News would have relied upon in the case centered around whether they had exercised due diligence, whether their actions were reckless, or if they were simply reporting on an extremely newsworthy matter involving the former president of the United States himself. However, this defense had already been employed by Fox News in the past and didn't yield favorable results for them. For instance, one of their key arguments was that their actions were protected under the First Amendment and that their hosts had the right to cover the news. However, this argument fell short because it's understandable why Fox News would prefer to settle given the circumstances. During the lawsuit, private correspondence came to light, revealing that some of the network's prominent hosts and executives were skeptical about the claims they were promoting and sometimes endorsing on air. These text messages were particularly striking, with Tucker Carlson's messages standing out. Despite being a staunch Trump loyalist on air, internally he referred to Trump as a demonic force and criticized his lawyers, pushing the election fraud arguments as lunatics. It's evident that Carlson saw no benefit in having Trump as president, considering him a failed businessman. In fact, he was eager for Joe Biden to take over and harbored strong animosity towards Trump. These revelations brought me closer to understanding Tucker Carlson's perspective. In any case, yes, you're right, they were simply doing their job. By pointing out the evident nature of the text messages, it becomes clear that Fox News was not merely reporting the news, but rather providing a platform for individuals they knew would disseminate falsehoods. They were fully aware that these individuals were going to lie, and yet they willingly gave them a platform. It would have been a groundbreaking defamation case, because they made it abundantly clear through those text messages that their sole motivation was to retain their audience and generate profits. It was as if they were following a deliberate path to self-destruct their own careers, as every step of their intentions was documented. It truly was astonishing, and I must admit, I would have relished the opportunity to witness the trial unfold. I'm certainly disappointed that they settled instead of allowing the case to proceed. I must admit, it's disheartening to acknowledge the detrimental impact this settlement has on democracy and future elections. In an ideal scenario, a case like this could have been resolved in a manner that discouraged dishonesty. However, this settlement will have the opposite effect. Fox News now realizes that even if they engage in reckless behavior similar to what transpired in 2020, they may only face a slight decline in their profits. They were able to maintain their profit margins by disseminating falsehoods. This outcome sends a dangerous message, encouraging them to continue spreading lies. Furthermore, in the future, communication within the network may not be traceable through text messages or emails, making it increasingly difficult to bring forth similar cases. It's highly probable that these types of legal actions will become more challenging moving forward. Now, let's shift our focus to the ongoing impact of all these events. It's truly a complete disaster for Fox News, as Bill O'Reilly accurately describes it. He emphasizes that going forward, Fox News will not only face a similar defamation lawsuit from Smartmatic, a company they also spread lies about, but potentially thousands of lawsuits from their own shareholders. The gravity of the situation is undeniable, and O'Reilly laments the shift he witnessed after leaving Fox News. He remarks on how the network's template changed, from being fair and balanced to simply telling the audience what they wanted to hear, particularly millions of Trump supporters who still cling to the belief that the 2020 election was rigged. O'Reilly reminisces about the good old days when he was at Fox, when everything seemed to be in order. They were indeed muckrakers, presenting themselves as truth-tellers and old-school newsmen who simply called things as they were. However, it's crucial to acknowledge that what they considered as real often involved racist narratives. It's quite remarkable, and not in a positive sense, that they actively championed the preemptive illegal war in Iraq. Despite their claims of covering what was happening in America, they seemed fixated on the idea that poor people having basic appliances like microwaves, TVs, and refrigerators was somehow unfair. These were recurring segments that O'Reilly dedicated airtime to. Interestingly, O'Reilly now chooses to weigh in on the aftermath of Fox News being required to pay a significant sum of money due to a scandal. It's worth noting that O'Reilly himself was responsible for his fair share of scandals. He was involved in numerous sexual harassment lawsuits, resulting in Fox News paying around $45 million in settlements to avoid public litigation. Those were indeed the good old days. Indeed, the scandals involving sexual harassment within Fox News have been significant. Bill O'Reilly's involvement in trying to manipulate and exploit individuals, with his alleged use of a loofah, and Roger Ailes attempting to control people's careers by coercive means, have tarnished the network's reputation. Gretchen Carlson managed to secure a $20 million settlement from such incidents. But there are others whose fates remain unknown. For instance, Andrea Tantaros made accusations against Fox News, and her whereabouts and situations since then are uncertain. While it's unclear if these matters are connected, there is a prolonged history of sexual harassment lawsuits within the network. Looking ahead, my concern for Fox News is that the $787 million settlement may not pose a significant financial impact compared to their overall profits. However, if this payout hampers their ability to adequately address and handle future sexual harassment scandals involving their current on-air hosts, then they may face genuine trouble. It is worth noting that Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson are often praised for their progressive views on women and other issues. They would never take actions that could potentially jeopardize their financial interests. Only time will tell if they truly adhere to this notion. Now, shifting gears, let's discuss Marjorie Greene, who continually astounds us with her lack of intellectual acuity. She seems to confuse protected speech, such as expressing one's opinion, with speech that is not protected, like defamation. Via her Twitter account, she made the following statement. I think, yeah, Twitter. We have food critics that criticize restaurants, consumer reports that criticize products, auto critics that criticize automobiles, and conservative Americans have just wrapped up a week of criticizing a beer company. But you can't criticize a voting machine company, or else you'll face lawsuits demanding millions and millions of dollars. It's important to note that Marjorie Greene fails to distinguish between legitimate criticism and making baseless claims that harm the reputation of a company. While individuals have the right to share their opinions, it is essential to differentiate between responsible critique and unfounded defamation. Sure, let's address Marjorie Greene's statement. Although it seems quite misguided, she mentioned that conservative Americans had recently engaged in criticizing a beer company, but she exaggerated the impact, implying that they had nuked Anheuser-Busch. However, checking the stock prices reveals that the company's value has only slightly decreased. It appears that their attempts at boycotting have